I've been having a hard time deciding how I'm going to present this video. I went to a Charlie Kirk vigil last night. I've been wanting to go to one for a bit, but I've been working crazy hours and I work third shift and it makes scheduling things kind of difficult. But I got my first day off in a while and there was supposedly going to be a large gathering in a town called Wilsonville. I said, I've got to make that. I've got to go be a part. I've got to show my support. I will go through in editing and use the footage from last night into this video because I'm not quite sure just throwing a short video of the vigil itself is going to quite emphasize how I feel about this situation. One thing that impressed me, first of all, it was quite a large crowd. I mean, obviously not a sporting event or anything like that, but there were hundreds of people there in this little park. I was inspired by the fact that there were so many people willing to come out, even after there were advertised threats by the activist left. Due to God's blessing or simply logistics, don't know, but there was no militant far left presence there. It was beautiful, it was peaceful, it was awe-inspiring. The second thing that impressed me was the amount of youth there. Children, teenagers, young adults, very diverse crowd. I mean, there were people there literally from babies to senior citizens that had to be pushed around in wheelchairs, and a wide variety of demographics as well, which kind of surprised me a bit. Normally when you go to these right-wing rallies, because that's what they're going to be labeled as, that's what last night is going to be labeled as, because they're doing everything they can to besmirch Charlie Kirk's legacy. I wouldn't characterize last night's crowd as your typical far-right crowd. There were plenty of people with American flags and USA gear and things of that sort. But one thing that never really seemed to gain my focus was just how much Charlie Kirk meant to the Christian community, to the spiritual, religious, however you want to label it, to that community. I consider myself a Christian, but I'm not religious. If you ask me, I will tell you. I believe in Jesus Christ and the fact that he died for our sins, and that living by the principles laid out by Jesus Christ, we live a better life and we are better human beings. But I believe that you should be willing and prepared to present and defend your faith if called upon to do so. I don't know if I've said this in the past in public or not, but I consider Charlie Kirk a personal hero. I don't have very many heroes. I'm very selective about who I use that label for. Charlie Kirk definitely fit that bill for me. So I believe in the right, the ability, and the usefulness of intellectual conversation and debate in a public forum. It's useful, and I also believe it's necessary in the way that we've set up our society here in America. Part of the American experiment is the ability to discuss contrary ideas in an open and public forum. And Charlie Kirk espoused that greatly. He really, really, really believed in that, and he lived it. He didn't just talk about it, he actually went out there and did it. The thing that I like the most about Charlie's work was that he went to what I would consider the underserved crowd. He went to college campuses while giving liberals an opportunity to present their case, because everybody knows that the institutions of higher learning, as they used to be called, I don't know why you would call it that now, because it's definitely anything but, it's more of indoctrination factories. And side note, caveat to all this is Charlie Kirk didn't believe in college for the most part. He was anti-college, everybody knows that, but yet he went to college campuses to do his work. He was serving the youth that only get one side of the story. I've been presented with the idea that You know, if you're under 18 and you can't vote, then what's the point of talking politics? There's an interesting video out there. I'll try to find it and edit it in here of a young girl. I'm going to guess 10 years old. I think she says it in the clip, that comes up and addresses Charlie Kirk in a very impressive way.
So, I'm pro-life. I'm a fiscal conservative. And I know I want to get into politics when I grow up. I don't want to get into massive debt for a political science degree. What concrete steps can I take now in order to achieve the goal of doing my part to make America great again?
Oh, great.
It's a perfect example that the youth are our future. Every single one of us watching this, and the fact is we were their age once. There's a high likelihood that we believed differently at their age than we do now. You grow older, you learn lessons, you learn about life. Life smacks you, life blesses you, whatever. And you look at things a little different way. That's part of growing up. Now we have youths.
What?
What?
Did you say utes?
Yeah, 2 utes.
What is a ute?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
We have youngsters of our own. They're all the future. They all decide, according to their views and their beliefs and their teachings, way of seeing things, they all decide where this country is going. And Charlie recognized that. So he went to college campuses and engaged them, because a lot of us older people, we don't include them in the conversations enough. We don't recognize their value, their importance, their worth in the conversation. And that's quite unfortunate. Again, if you're anything like me, when I was their age, I was incredibly disillusioned by that. I didn't want to take part in the conversation, in the debate, in the process. And because of that angst that was created from that disillusionment, I became a liberal. I became not incredibly, but somewhat active. I would raise my voice in opposition to traditional values and things of that sort. It was in the Reagan days, so there was plenty of material for young leftist wannabe activist types to rally against. And I did so. And I thought I was doing the right thing, because that's what they fed us. Because our parents still trusted the institutions that they handed us over to all day. Anyways, again, I'm getting on a tangent, and I'm looking at the clock, and this is getting kind of long, if you're still watching.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The reason I put out this video is I have a request to any of you watching that are parents, that have teens or younger. I'm watching reports of this school. There are students trying to institute a chapter of TPUSA, Turning Point USA, for those of you who don't know, in their high school, I believe. And there are leftist teachers that are mounting a battle, a full-blown battle, against any parents, students, teachers that are supporting this or want to be part of it.
One of the parents at Stratford High School released personal information from students and staff who wanted to start a local Turning Point USA chapter at the high school. Investigators say it's a crime to leak teenagers' information, and charges could be filed.
There's a war going on out there for our children, for our youth, in their minds and their souls. What I saw last night was parents on the right side of the war, as far as I'm concerned, and there's no pun intended in that.
I'll ask you young people here in just a little bit, because I have a message for you guys, because you guys are the future. You guys are what's going to make a difference going forward in our country and our state.
Parents that want to teach their kids traditional values, the values that advanced our country faster than any other nation on the planet in history, that the left now wants us to abandon and become hedonistic and become, depraved souls that are only out for ourselves, self-serving, self-righteous, all of that. Just about anything that the left believes you can categorize with I guess it would be an adverb. I hope my English is still right. That starts with self. Their entire ideology is based in selfishness. Conservatives teach the other way around. Conservatives teach values that serve your community, that teach you to be an honest and nice and concerned and giving and compassionate person towards those around us. And we need to continue to instill those values in our youth. If you have a child, if you have a youth, please take the time to sit and talk to them and not necessarily lecture them. Take a moment to give them this lesson. And the lesson is that they're heard, that they're important, that they count, that they have value and worth, and their opinions do so too. I truly believe, and I taught my kids to think for themselves and to have their own opinions and to form their own views. I will never, ever tell a parent to impose their views on their children. Sometimes, like it did me, it may bite you in the ass. It may come back to haunt you. It may put you in a situation you don't want to be in down the road, but I am proud of my children for thinking on their own. I don't expect them to believe something just because I did. The point being, let them know that whether they agree with you or not, hopefully they agree with you. Every parent wants that. But even if they don't, because who knows? Like I said, I was a liberal younger and I changed my mind. I always tell everybody, asks, what's my political affiliation? And have you been that all your life? And I say, no, I was a Democrat until I grew up. Maybe you'll experience that with your children if they're left-leaning at a young age. But tell them that no matter what, that they're heard and they're important. A lot of these Antifa types that I've met over the years, you can tell, and some of them will straight out tell you, that they don't have strong parental figures. They will join anything that makes them feel good because nobody listened to them when they were younger. I'm looking at this case of Charlie Kirk's, the one that assassinated Charlie Kirk. I don't know what word I'm allowed to use on YouTube. He had, by all accounts, traditional conservative parenting. And he still went the other way. Something tells me that somewhere along the line, he felt not listened to. He felt like his opinion wasn't mattering enough, and he had to make a statement large enough to be heard. Not justifying it by any means. Please do not take that in the wrong way, because you don't want to see that happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere, anyhow. I make a distinction between excuses and reasons. I do not make excuses for what happened. Nobody should. But things happen for reasons, and if we can determine what those reasons are, perhaps we can counteract them before it's too late and before it happens again. That being an active parent, taking the time to listen to your children, will counteract some of the evils in this world. Like I said, even if you don't agree, sometimes even more important if you don't agree. I'm pretty sure that my children may be fearful of expressing their beliefs to me because I appear so hardcore to the right. I'm ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of being that parent that his children are afraid to talk to him. Had an issue where my oldest daughter, she came to visit, and you could tell that she was holding something back, and she had to discuss it with her other sisters before coming to me. And she said, I don't know how I'm going to tell you this. I don't know how we're going to have this discussion. And I looked at her and I said, just tell me, because you're my daughter and I love you, whether we agree or not, whether, there's nothing that you're going to tell me that's going to make me not love you. I don't know if I said it exactly properly. This was years ago. But the result was she did confide in me and she did talk to me, which makes me feel I did something right. I hope so. But I was ashamed. I was embarrassed that she was afraid to come and approach me with something that was deeply in her heart. Because that's my child. She should never be afraid. And she should never think that it's not a good idea. Be that parent to your child. Don't make my mistakes. Listen to them. Ask their opinion. If they walk in on a conversation between you and your wife, or you and a buddy, or if you're on Facebook and they see you talking to somebody on Facebook or whatnot, ask their opinion on it. And quite frankly, as a parent, you should probably already know. Hopefully you're attentive enough to know what their opinion's going to be, but ask them anyways. If we don't engage our youth, if we don't make our youth feel important, it's only going to breed negativity and negative results. I believe that all those parents there with their children and their teens last night were being a positive influence, because I wanted my children to know that they were important to me, and they still are. And if by some chance they end up watching this, I hope you glean that out of this message. Know that you're important, and I am proud of you, even though we don't agree, even though I wish you would think differently on some things. I'm proud of you for voicing your opinions and coming to your own opinions. I wouldn't want you just to echo what I say, or what your parents say, or what you hear, somebody say. I wouldn't. You're not parrots. You're human beings, and you're quite intelligent. I've been blessed with very smart kids. So use that intelligence to make your own conclusions and run with them, and don't be afraid to speak out. And to those watching that have children as well, tell your kids that, and let them know that you're proud of them for thinking. Society nowadays does not teach our kids to think for themselves. You have to do that as a parent. And that's what Charlie did. And that's the connection between last night and what I'm thinking today. I guess that's all I got to say about that. Thank everybody that showed up at Wilsonville last night for the beautiful, beautiful ceremony. I will be going to one in my town. I didn't realize until I was on my way to Wilsonville that there was one in my town tomorrow. Hopefully that is as inspired and beautiful as the one in Wilsonville. You guys did a great job, and it was very, very befitting and honoring somebody of Charlie Kirk's legend. It's basically what it is.
You got something to say? Come on, say